So, you're thinking about tackling GCSEs outside of the traditional school system here in the UK. Well, if you are, you've just signed up for a brand new role, project manager. And let me tell you, it's probably one of the highest stakes projects you'll ever run. So let's get right into the playbook that you're going to need.
Deciding to opt out of the mainstream system can be amazing. It offers this incredible flexibility and the chance for a truly personalized education. But it also throws you headfirst into a world of challenges that schools just don't have to deal with. For you, the whole game has completely changed.
And this, right here, is the absolute key. It's the fundamental mindset shift you have to make. From this moment on, your success isn't just about how well you can teach English or maths. Nope. It's about operational excellence, it's about strategic planning, and it's about flawless execution. You are now the CEO, the CFO, and the COO of a very, very important startup, your child's future qualifications.
So, to get you there, we're going to break this down into 4 key areas. First, what your new mandate as a project manager actually is. Second, how to build a bulletproof qualification strategy. Third, how to forecast the very real costs involved. And finally, how to execute all the complex logistics. Okay, let's start with the mandate. The second you step outside the state-funded school system, you inherit every single one of its administrative, financial, and legal responsibilities. There is absolutely no safety net. It's all on you. Let's just pause on this for a second, because the scope of what you're taking on is massive. First off, you are now legally accountable to your local authority to provide what they call a suitable education. We'll get to how you prove that in a bit. Second, you are paying for 100% of everything. We're talking textbooks, resources, and all the final exam fees. And third, and this is so important, you have to navigate an administrative system that was never, ever designed for an individual. It's built for big institutions, for schools. And that leads us perfectly to your first and, honestly, your most important strategic decision as a project manager. See, choosing the right type of exam isn't just an academic preference. It's a critical strategy to manage risk and avoid hitting a logistical brick wall.
This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? Here's the core problem you've got to solve. Standard UK GCSEs often have coursework, what's officially called non-examination assessments, or NEA. Now, the exam boards say centres should support private candidates with this, but the reality on the ground? Most just refuse. Why? Well, think about it. They aren't insured to supervise or authenticate the work of a student they don't teach. It's a huge liability for them. And this is what makes the IGCSE, the international GCSE, the clear strategic choice. They are almost all 100% exam-based, which completely removes this massive logistical risk from your project.
Okay, but what about the sciences? This is the hidden minefield. This is where so many well-meaning home educators get completely caught out by the single biggest threat to their entire project's success. And that threat has a name, the practical endorsement. It's a mandatory part of UK science GCSEs, where a student has to perform a dozen supervised experiments in a proper lab. For a private candidate trying to find a facility and a qualified person to sign this off, well, it's an absolute logistical and administrative nightmare. Now you might be thinking, surely there's a workaround. Well, there is. Kind of. You can book an intensive practical course, but just look at the cost. We're talking around £250 per science subject. And even if you pay that, it creates this complex administrative handshake. You have to find a written exam centre that agrees to accept the practical certificate from that other separate provider. The much, much smarter move: choose the IGCSE science pathway. It cleverly assesses practical skills through a written paper instead, letting you bypass this entire expensive, messy problem. Which, of course, brings us neatly to the money. As a project manager, your budget is everything. You have to remember, you are running a completely unsubsidized educational program. There is no public funding, no 16 to 19 bursary you can fall back on. It's all on you. So let's just look at the baseline costs. The exam entry fee, something parents in the school system never even see, is now your responsibility. And per subject, you're looking at a huge range, from maybe £120 on the low end, all the way up to nearly £500 at some specialist colleges. Now, multiply that by 6 or 7 subjects, and you can see how this quickly becomes a major project expense. And the deadlines? They're absolutely unforgiving. This is where your project management skills are really put to the test.
Miss the standard entry deadline, and you could be looking at a late penalty of over 40%. Just like the slide says, a £290 fee can become £425 literally overnight. One missed date on your project plan can instantly cost you hundreds. And it's not just the main fees. You have to forecast all the hidden administrative costs too. For example, if your child needs access arrangements, like extra time, there's often an admin fee of around £100, and that's on top of what you'll pay for any required reports. But look at that deadline. You need to have that sorted by September, almost a whole academic year before the actual exam. Rigorous financial forecasting isn't optional, it's essential for survival. Okay, so you've got your strategy, you've got your budget, now it's time for execution. This is the day-to-day project management, the nitty-gritty of dealing with bureaucracy, deadlines, and legal compliance. Your single most critical task is to secure an exam center. So here's your 4-step plan. 1. Start with the official JCQ search tool. 2. Get on the phone. These online lists aren't always up to date. 3. You have to verify that they accept not just your exam board, like Edexcel, but your specific subject codes. And 4, and please listen to this one, ask for their internal deadlines. They are almost always weeks earlier than the official ones published by the exam board. Now, at the same time you're juggling all those exam logistics, you've got a compliance duty. As this quote from the official guidance says, "Your local authority is legally required to check in." And what that really means is you need to be ready to prove that you're providing a suitable education, potentially at very short notice. The smart play here is what I call an evidence-first approach. Instead of scrambling when that inquiry email lands in your inbox, you're always prepared. Using a digital tool, something like Notion is perfect for this, lets you build an ongoing portfolio. You can log lessons, track progress, and upload work samples as you go. Then, if the LA does get in touch, you can generate a comprehensive report with a single click. It's all about proactive compliance, not reactive panic. And let's just bring this all together with the timeline. As the project manager, this is your master schedule. This is your wall chart. Registration opens in the winter. Then that standard deadline hits you fast in January or February. Then comes the late penalty window. And then, finally, the exams themselves. Every single one of these stages needs your full attention. So what does this all mean? Well, the key takeaway, the big thing to remember, is that successfully getting through home ed GCSEs really hinges less on your ability to explain Shakespeare and more on your ability to run a tight ship. It is first and foremost a project management challenge. At the end of the day, the established educational system, it just wasn't designed for the private candidate. It's rigid, it's bureaucratic, and it's absolutely full of traps for anyone who's not prepared. So the real question this leaves us with is, are you ready to design, budget, and execute a better system? One that's built not for an institution, but built specifically for you.